Jaya Radha Madhavam Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhavam Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Baba Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Baba Girivaradhari Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Baba Girivaradhari Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama
Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we're reading today from the Srimad-bhagavatam, 9th Canto, Chapter 7, verses all the way from 8 to 26, which actually ends the chapter.
Сегодня 9-я песня, 7 глава, И тексты с 8 по 26 и заканчиваем главу.
There's only one more verse in the chapter that has a purport, so that comes in there.
Только один стих имеет, один или больше имеет комментарий.
So we'll chant verse 8.
Начинаем с 8.
So napatyo vishanatma naradashyopadeshataha varunang sharanang yata putro me jayatang prabhu So napatyo vishanatma naradashyopadeshataha varunang sharanang yata putro me jayatam prabhu. So napatyo vishanatma naradashyopadeshataha varunang sharanang yata putro me jayatang prabhu. So napatyo vishanatma naradashyopadeshataha varunang sharanang yata putro me jayatang prabhu. So napatyo vishanatma naradashyopadeshataha varunang sharanang yata putro me jayatang prabhu. So napatyo vishanatma naradashyopadeshataha varunang sharanang yata putro me jayatang prabhu.
So napatyo vishanatma
So napatyo vishanatma naradashyopadeshataha varunang sharanam yatha putro me jayatam prabhu. All right. Okay, word for word synonyms. Saha, that Harishchandra. Anapatya, being without a son. Vishana Atma, therefore very morose. Naradasha, of Narada. Upadeshataha, by the advice. Varunam, unto Varuna. Sharanam Yataha, took shelter. Putraha, a son, may of me. Jayatam, let there be born. Prabhu, O my Lord. Harishchandra had no son and was therefore extremely morose. Once, therefore, following the advice of Narada, he took shelter of Varuna and said to him, My Lord, I have no son, would you kindly give me one? Translation.
Перевод. У Харишчандры не было сына, и это его очень огорчало. Однажды, последовав совету Нарады, он взмолился Варуне и попросил: «О мой повелитель, у меня нет сыновей, будь так добр, подари мне одного сына».
Okay, so there's no purport for this verse. So we'll go on to the next several. O King Parikshit, Harishchandra begged Varuna, "Oh, my lord, if a son is born to me, with that son I shall perform a sacrifice for your satisfaction." When Harishchandra said this, Varuna replied, "Let it be so." Because of Varuna's benediction, Harishchandra begot a son named Rohita.
О царь Парикшит, Харишчандра умолял Варуну: «Господин мой, если у меня родится сын, я принесу его тебе в жертву». Когда Харишчандра произнес эти слова, Варуна молвил: «Да будет так». Так, по благословению Варуны, у Харишчандры родился сын Рохита.
Thereafter, when the child was born, Varuna approached Harishchandra and said, "Now you have a son. With this son, you can offer me a sacrifice." In answer to this, Harishchandra said, After 10 days have passed since an animal's birth, the animal becomes fit to be sacrificed.
Когда ребенок родился, Варуна предстал перед Харишчандрой и сказал: «Теперь у тебя есть сын, ты можешь принести мне его в жертву». Харишчандра ответил на это: «Животное становится пригодным для яги только через 10 дней после рождения».
After 10 days, Varuna came again and said to Harishchandra, "Now you can perform the sacrifice." Harishchandra replied, "When an animal grows teeth, then it becomes pure enough to be sacrificed."
Через 10 дней Варуна пришел снова и обратился к Харишчандре: «Принеси теперь обещанную жертву». Но Харишчандра сказал: «Животное становится достаточно чистым для принесения в жертву, когда у него вырастают зубы».
When the teeth grew, Varuna came and said to Harishchandra, "Now the animal has grown teeth, and you can perform the sacrifice." Harishchandra replied, "When all its teeth have fallen out, then it will be fit for sacrifice."
Когда зубы у ребенка выросли, Варуна пришел и сказал Харишчандре: «Теперь у животного есть зубы, и ты можешь совершить жертвоприношение». На это Харишчандра ответил: «Только когда все эти зубы выпадут, животное станет пригодным для яги».
When the teeth had fallen out, Varuna returned and said to Harishchandra, "Now the animal's teeth have fallen out, and you can perform the sacrifice." But Harishchandra replied, "When the animal's teeth grow in again, then he will be pure enough to be sacrificed."
Когда зубы выпали, Варуна вернулся и сказал: «Теперь у животного выпали зубы, соверши свою ягью». В ответ Харишчандра молвил: лишь когда у животного снова вырастут зубы, оно будет достаточно чистым для жертвоприношения.
When the teeth grew in again, Varuna came and said to Harishchandra, "Now you can perform the sacrifice." But Harishchandra then said, "O king, when the sacrificial animal becomes a kshatriya and is able to shield himself to fight with the enemy, then he will be purified."
Когда зубы выросли снова, Варуна пришел и сказал Харишчандре: «Теперь ты можешь принести свою жертву». Но Харишчандра опять возразил: «О царь, жертвенное животное очистится, когда станет кшатрием и сможет защитить себя в бою с врагом».
Harishchandra was certainly very much attached to his son. Because of this affection, he asked the demigod Varuna to wait. Thus Varuna waited and waited for the time to come.
Несомненно, Харишчандра был очень привязан к своему сыну. Поэтому он и просил полубога Варуну повременить. А Варуна все ждал и ждал, когда придет время обещанной жертвы.
Rohita, that was his son, Rohita could understand that his father intended to offer him as an animal for sacrifice. Therefore, just to save himself from death, he equipped himself with bow and arrows and went to the forest.
Рахита понял, что отец намерен принести его в жертву. Тогда, чтобы спастись от смерти, он вооружился луком и стрелами и ушел в лес.
When Rohita heard that his father had been attacked by dropsy due to Varuna, and that his abdomen had grown very large, he wanted to return to the capital, but King Indra forbade him to do so.
Когда Рахита услышал, что его отец заболел водянкой, которую наслал на него Варуна, и что его живот непомерно вздулся, он захотел вернуться в столицу, однако царь Индра запретил Рахите возвращаться.
King Indra advised Rohita to travel to different pilgrimage sites and holy places, for such activities are pious indeed. Following this instruction, Rohita went to the forest for 1 year.
Когда Рахита услышал, что его отец заболел водянкой, которую наслал на него Варуна, what was this verse?
That was verse, I just read 18.
Царь Индра посоветовал Рахите отправиться в паломничество по святым местам, ибо такой поступок дарует подлинное благочестие. Рахита последовал указанию Индры и удалился в лес на 1 год.
In this way, at the end of the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th years, when Rohita wanted to return to his capital, the king of heaven Indra approached him as an old Brahmana and forbade him to return, repeating the same words as in the previous year.
Точно так же в конце 2-го, 3-го, 4-го и 5-го года, когда Рахита хотел было вернуться в город, царь небес Индра появлялся перед ним в облике старого брамана и снова запрещал ему возвращаться, повторяя те же слова, что и раньше.
Thereafter, in the 6th year, after wandering in the forest, Rohita returned to the capital of his father. He purchased from Ajigartha his 2nd son, named Shunashefa. Then he offered Shunashefa to his father, Harishchandra, to be used as a sacrificial animal, and offered Harishchandra his respectful obeisances.
На 6-й год скитаний по лесу Рахита вернулся в столицу своего отца. Он купил у Аджигарты его 2-го сына Шунашшепху. Выразив своему отцу Харишчандре глубокое почтение, Рахита предложил ему использовать Шунашшепху в качестве жертвенного животного.
So there's a small purport here. It appears, Prabhupada writes, it appears that in those days a man could be purchased for any purpose. Purport?
На 6-й год скитаний по лесу. После этого знаменитый царь Харишчандра, один из великих царей истории, совершил великое жертвоприношение, принеся в жертву человека. Так он удовлетворил всех полубогов и излечился от водянки, которую наслал на него Варуна.
Was that the whole purport? Harishchandra was in need of a person to sacrifice as the animal in a yajna and thus fulfill his promise to Varuna. And a man was purchased from another man for this purpose.
23?
I'm still reading the purport.
He's asking 23.
This is verse 20. No, we're still in verse 20. Purport.
20?
20 purport.
Purport, yes. Из этого стиха яствует, что в те времена человека можно было купить.
Millions of years ago, animal sacrifice and slave trade both existed.
Харишчандре нужен был человек, которого он должен был принести в жертву, подобно животному, чтобы выполнить обещание, данное Варуне. И такой человек был куплен. Уже миллионы лет назад люди приносили в жертву животных и торговали рабами.
Indeed, they have existed since time immemorial.
Поистине и то, и другое существовало с незапамятных времен.
This is definitely not a Sunday feast topic.
Это определенно не тема для воскресного фестиваля.
Okay, there's a few more verses and we'll finish the chapter and then I'll try to speak something.
Несколько стихов, чтобы закончить.
Verse 21, thereafter the famous King Harishchandra, one of the exalted persons in history, performed grand sacrifices by sacrificing a man and pleased all the demigods. In this way his dropsy created by Varuna was cured.
После этого знаменитый царь Харишчандра, один из великих царей в истории, совершил великое жертвоприношение, принеся в жертву человека. Так он удовлетворил всех полубогов и излечился от водянки, которую наслали на него Варуна.
In that great human sacrifice, Vishwamitra was the chief priest to offer oblations. The perfectly self-realized Jamadagni had the responsibility for chanting the mantras from the Yajurveda. Vasishta was the chief Brahminical priest, and the sage Ayasha was the reciter of the hymns of the Samaveda.
На том великом жертвоприношении Вишвамитра был главным жрецом, отвечавшим за подношение даров. В совершенстве постигший науку о душе Джамадагни произносил мантры из Яджурведы. Васиштха возглавлял жрецов браманов, а мудрец Аясья пел гимны из Самаведы.
King Indra, being very pleased with Harishchandra, offered him a gift of a golden chariot. Shuna Shafi's glories will be presented along with the description of the sons of Vishwamitra.
Царь Индра, очень довольный Харишчандрой, подарил ему золотую колесницу. Что же касается Шунахшипхи, то о его величии будет поведано в рассказе о сыне Вишвамитра.
He was given the golden chariot, and Indra gave him a golden chariot, and is being glorified for this human sacrifice. I wish you'll probably give more details about this because it was kind of complicated. But and it says here in this verse we just read, Suna Shefa's glories will be presented along with a description of the sons of Vishwamitra. Suna Shefa was a person who was sacrificed like an animal. So anyway, we'll go a little further. So it means there's more explanation coming up maybe in the next chapter. The great sage Vishwamitra saw that Maharaj Harishchandra along with his wife, was truthful, forbearing, and concerned with the essence. Thus he gave them imperishable knowledge for fulfillment of the human mission.
Видя, что Махараджа Харишчандра и его жена правдивы, терпеливы и во всем ищут саму суть, великий мудрец Вишвамитра дал им неуничтожимое духовное знание, позволяющее достичь цели человеческой жизни.
Maharaj Harishchandra first purified his mind, which was full of material enjoyment, by amalgamating it with the earth. Then he amalgamated the earth with water, the water with fire, the fire with the air, and the air with the sky. And thereafter he amalgamated the sky with the total material energy, and the total material energy with spiritual knowledge. The spiritual knowledge is realization of one's self as spiritual knowledge is realization of oneself as part of the Supreme Lord. When the self-realized spiritual soul is engaged in service to the Lord, he is eternally imperceptible and inconceivable. Thus established in spiritual knowledge, he is completely freed from material bondage. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports to the 9th Canto, 7th chapter of the Srimad-bhagavatam entitled The Descendants of King Mandhata.
Итак, перевод последних стихов. Сначала Махараджа Харишчандра очистил свой ум от материальных желаний, соединив его с землей. Затем он соединил землю с водой, воду с огнем, огонь с воздухом, а воздух с небом. После этого он соединил небо с совокупной материальной энергией, а совокупную материальную энергию с духовным знанием. Обладать духовным знанием значит сознавать себя частицей Верховного Господа. Осознавшая себя душа, занимаясь служением Господу, всегда остается непостижимой и недоступной восприятию чувств. Утвердившись в духовном знании, она обретает полную свободу от материальной жизни. Конец комментария. Так заканчивается комментарий Бхактивиданты к 7 главе 9 песни Сримад-бхагаватам, которая называется «Потомки царя Мандхаты».
Om Ajnana Timirandasya Kinachana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Okay, this is a very interesting chapter.
Очень интересная глава эта.
And I can't say a whole lot about the topic, except that we know that in one other incident where someone had got a person and were trying to offer them as a just like an animal in a sacrifice.
Я не могу, к сожалению, много сказать по этой теме, которую мы прочитали вот в этих комментариях последних. Но сейчас вспомню какую-то историю, где тоже был человек в жертву принесен.
And that was the history of Jadbharata.
Это была история с Джадой Бхарата.
So Jadbharata was certainly not an animal. He was a human being, but he did not speak to anyone. He appeared deaf and dumb. He appeared to be.
Джада Бхарата, конечно же, не был животным, он был человеком, но так или иначе он ничего не говорил, он скрывал свои мотивы и поэтому был принят за животное.
So some worshippers of goddess Kali had taken him, had captured him.
И те, люди, которые поклонялись богине Кали, они его схватили.
To take him to sacrifice, just like an animal for the goddess Kali.
Они хотели его принести вот как животное прямо на алтаре самой богини Кали.
Of course, the history is that although they attempted to do that and he did not resist, Goddess Kali burst out of her deity form and killed all the people who were doing the sacrifice. They say she saved Jadbharata.
И Джаду Бхарату спасло то, что в момент богиня Кали она проявилась и не приняла его.
But this is the first time I've heard about a human being actually in a, if like a Vedic ritual, you take a human being and sacrifice like an animal. But the animal sacrifices, the animals were actually, if the sacrifice was done properly, the animals were actually elevated spiritually.
И если правильно было совершено жертвоприношение, то животное оно духовно прогрессировало.
Of course, the animal had to be sacrificed. The ceremony or the ritual had to be performed properly. Otherwise, the animal was just killed and died, and there was no benefit for anyone.
И вот это жертвоприношение должно было совершенно правильно, потому что если жертвенное животное оно или умирало, или убивали, то тогда никто не получал никакого блага от этого жертвоприношения.
In the Srimad-bhagavatam, there's the history of King Prachini-barhi.
И в Srimad-bhagavatam есть история про царя Прачинабархи.
Prachini-barhi, King Prachini-barhi was the father of the 10 prachetas.
И Прачинабарха он был отцом 10 прачетов.
And the prachetas had for, I think, 10,000 years, had performed a particular sacrifice. They actually became Krishna conscious. They performed some sacrifice under the direction of Lord Shiva, right?
Они совершали жертвоприношение Господу Шиве, чтобы стать преданными Кришне.
So, but while they were away, while they were all performing their devotional sacrifice, King Prachini-barhi was thinking how he could elevate himself and go to the heavenly planets.
А сам Прачинабархи, он совершал жертвоприношение и хотел подняться на райские планеты. Такое у него было желание.
And these particular sacrifices involved sacrificing their animal sacrifices.
И вот одно из вот этих таких скрытых жертвоприношений было жертвоприношение именно животных.
But it appears from that history that Prachini-barhi was trying to go to the heavenly planets, and the animals that are being sacrificed would attain at least the human form of life, which was good for the animal soul.
И вот должно было совершиться это жертвоприношение, и животное оно должно было подняться на свой следующий уровень. То есть такая была вот идея.
But Narada Muni came to King Prachini-barhi, and he knew, Narada Muni knew that his sons had become very purified. They became Krishna conscious.
И Нарада Муни там появился, и когда он появился, то он знал, что вот эти сыновья, они должны стать чистыми преданными Господа.
And actually, if someone becomes Krishna conscious, their family members also get so much spiritual benefit.
И если кто-то становится сознающим Кришну, то вся его семья получает вот такое духовное благо.
So Narada Muni went to give some help, spiritual help, for King Prachini-barhi.
И Нарада Муни он дал вот духовную помощь этому царю Прачинабархе.
And he informed the king that you're performing so many sacrifices, so many animals are dying in these sacrifices, but he was able to show by some, his mystic abilities that these animals they're going to come back and they're going to cause you problem because you're not actually performing the sacrifice properly.
И он совершил много жертвоприношений, вот, но когда они совершены правильно, он правильно их совершал, то эти все животные, они получали следующее, более благоприятное рождение.
He said, "You're not performing the sacrifice properly, so these animals are they're just dying. They're not being elevated, and they will come back later on and cause you a lot of problem in a future lifetime."
Но если животное если неправильно было жертвоприношение совершено, то животное оно не уходило в духовный мир, если его просто убивали. Получается, что его просто убивали.
But kings being, in Vedic times, the king is like, no one tells the king what to do.
В ведические времена царь занимал такое положение, что никто ему не мог сказать, что именно нужно делать.
So Narada Muni also understood that this king, if he starts just going directly preaching to him about, you're doing the wrong thing, then the king would have no interest, and okay, you can go on your way.
Если кто-то хотел сказать что-то царю, то царь у него не было никакого интереса к тому желающему что-то сказать.
So Narada Muni was aware of that, so he went to the king and started telling him a story about another king.
И Нарада Муни он знал это, поэтому когда он пришел к царю, то он начал ему рассказывать историю о другом царе.
And that other king's name was Puranjana.
И имя второго царя было Пуранджана.
So this was not a real person. This is a story, an allegory, a story.
И это не какой-то настоящий человек, это вот аллегория, такая история просто.
But in the Srimad-bhagavatam, this story of Puranjana actually goes for a few chapters. It's a very detailed story.
И в Srimad-bhagavatam достаточно подробно описана эта история, занимает несколько глав.
So he tells him the story, and finally, after a long, after telling this very long story, the king finally understands. Oh, this Puranjana, that's actually me. It's actually he saw himself in that position.
Please come again.
The Narada Muni told this story about this imaginary king, but the king Prachani Bharhi, who's listening to the story, he finally realizes that the story, the Narada Muni is actually talking about me.
И когда Нарада Муни закончил рассказывать эту историю, то царь вот этот Пуранджана.
The story character was Puranjana.
Да, царь Пуранджана, он понял, что это вот как бы косвенная история, но фактически она была рассказана о нем.
So in the end, the Narada Muni convinced him that you give up these material sacrifices and you just engage in devotional service to the Lord.
И Нарада Муни его подвел к тому, что чтобы он оставил это, не делал это жертвоприношение, а поклонялся Верховному Господу.
Okay. So anyway, this particular verse, this verse 20 today, Srila Prabhupada was writing the purport that in millions of years ago there was actually slave trade, and you can actually purchase a person like that. This is it seems a little strange, but this was actually was going on. We just have to accept the Vedic version. This is what was going on.
Ну, это достаточно странно, конечно, слушать, но это то, что происходило в ведическом обществе.
But we have to also remember that the Vedic culture was not Vaishnav culture in that sense. It was not like everyone is a devotee of Krishna.
И надо правильно понимать, что ведическая культура, она не является культурой вайшнавов.
In fact, the 99% of the people were what would be properly called karmis.
И 99% людей, они были карми обычными.
And karmi, the real meaning of karmi is, huh?
How do you say the percentage?
Maybe 99%. Very big part of the society at that time they were looking for material things.
Они совершались эти жертвоприношения многие просто для материальных каких-то достижений.
Today, modern times, we may say karmi, but karmi actually means you're following the Vedic injunctions to get satisfy those material desires.
И в современном мире у нас есть эти кармы тоже, которые также следуют ведическим предписаниям для того, чтобы реализовать свои материальные желания.
In Kali Yuga, people in general are not karmis, they are vikarmis. Vikarmis means performing activities which are not beneficial, not according to the Vedic conclusions.
И в современном мире на самом деле больше не карми, а люди больше не карми, они скорее викарми. То есть викарми — это те, кто нарушает ведические заключения.
So, anyway, I can't say a whole lot more about it, but the society in general was basically materialistic, but the goal of the society was to become ultimately liberated, become Krishna conscious. But most people at any one point had material desires and performed material sacrifices, and that's where these activities that we're seeing here are being presented.
И то, что здесь представлено, что мы видим, это то, что люди делали вот эти вот жертвоприношения, чтобы достичь своих каких-то материальных целей.
So of course there are things that went on in the past they had their purpose. Some activities in Kali Yuga are not allowed. Certain activities were done before are not allowed in Kali Yuga.
Действия, которые были даны, разрешены, точнее тогда, в те времена, они сейчас в Кали-югу, они запрещены.
In Vedic culture, there was even a sacrifice of a horse or a cow under certain special circumstances. But of course, any kind of sacrifice or killing in this age is simply not allowed for any religious purpose.
Для любой религиозной цели, которая преследуется в этот век, не разрешено убивать животных.
Because in Vedic culture, the horse sacrifice, called Ashvamedha sacrifice, an old horse was sacrificed, but by the proper chanting of the mantras, that old horse immediately came out as a young horse. So it was actually beneficial for the horse.
И благо, которое получалось животное, вот, допустим, если это была лошадь, в том, что во время жертвоприношения жрецы они повторяли мантры, и тогда животное оно получало другое тело прям сразу, и в этом было благо для него.
Same principle with the cow. There was a kind of sacrifice called I don't remember what it's called. A cow was sacrificed, but the cow got immediate benefit. It was not just just slaughtering cows and eating meat. It was something that benefited the cow, and it also proved the brahminical abilities of the brahmanas who were performing the sacrifice.
Efficiency of the mantra.
Say again?
The efficiency of the mantra chanted by brahmanas.
Yes, it showed that the mantras that they were chanting, they were chanting properly. Then this was it showed that was proof of the result of that. The old horse or old cow became transformed immediately into a young animal.
И то же самое относится и к коровам. Вот, но когда тогда совершались яги правильно, то бык или корова, они мгновенно получали молодое тело, вот сразу без задержек.
So of course those kind of sacrifices cannot be performed in Kali Yuga because no one is qualified to perform them and get the proper results.
Некоторые жертвоприношения также запрещены в Кали-югу, потому что просто не в состоянии мы выбрать все необходимые вещи, все необходимые элементы для того, чтобы это жертвоприношение можно было совершить.
It's about all I can say on these subjects. Some of this is it's new to me also.
Для меня также это новое, то что эту тему мы сегодня ознакомились.
Are there any questions, comments?
Какие-то вопросы, комментарии?
Microphone for those who are outside.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
In the beginning of the chapter, it is mentioned that like the sacrifice was meant for Varun Dev. But at the end we see that Indra is the enjoyer of that, it seems. Means in the beginning it was Varun Dev who was to get the benefit of, and
yes.
There is another question also, but first let's maybe before this.
So why is Indra?
Yeah, because it seems from the whole chapter that Indra is trying to get the benefit, although he's not. Yeah, he's the chief, but if you see that he's trying to, his son is telling that.
He's the temple president.
Здесь говорится, вопрос в том, что изначально...
Temple president is more important. Come on.
Yeah, there's nothing here explaining it either, so I don't actually know what Indra's part of this was. It was Varuna who gave the benediction, and Varuna who was expecting that same son. It's another strange thing here. The King Harishchandra wanted a son, but he for some reason agreed or promised that I will perform a sacrifice, but the sacrifice meant sacrificing his son, because he's killing his son. So what's the reason for having a son, getting a benediction to the son, and after 10 days was the original Varuna's idea. After 10 days you sacrifice this son. But apparently there's this, because it says here in the very end, how, let's see, this last verse. It said,
Harishchandra was truthful and his wife was truthful.
In verse 23, King Indra, being very pleased with Harishchandra, offered him a gift of a golden chariot. Shunashefa's glories will be presented along with the description of the sons of Vishwamitra. I'm not sure when that will be presented, but it's being described here in the verse. So Shunashefa's, it was a son that was purchased, the person who was purchased, and it was sacrificed. So what was glorious about him, we'll have to wait to see. I do not know.
What my thinking is that although it is Varuna's this one, maybe in the future, next chapter or somewhere we might get it. But here Indra is pleased himself, on his own. It's not that they are praising to Indra.
But King is a story. It's just doesn't really happen. It was just
No. This is not like Puranjana didn't happen. This happened.
This happened.
Puranjana's story is a story. This has nothing to do, this is actually
This
fact.
happened.
This is not allowed.
Allegory.
yeah, it's just
Yeah, most everything in Srimad-bhagavatam is just as it is. The Puranjana was very clearly a story being told by Narada Muni for that purpose. I'm going to try and see if I can find out some more about this. This is something new for me also.
Which one?
Some of this information is new to me. I don't remember this particular chapter before.
That's okay, but here the way that the translation is, the Indra is himself on his own. He wants to gift it. Is it what is it?
He gave a golden chariot.
He gave a golden chariot, but because Indra is the chief of all demigods, so the sacrifice automatically, in the sacrifice, even though other demigods receive their share, but Indra is the chief, so he is pleased and he wants to give golden chariot. But we have to wait and see whether Varuna has given or not.
I'll see if I can find this Shuna Shefa will be obviously mentioned somewhere else in the Srimad-bhagavatam. I don't know for sure where. I'll see if I can find out. Maybe we continue with mention it for the next class.
I have one.
You want to translate anything?
So much.
Too much.
So
I'm sorry. Yeah.
I have one question.
Yes.
This Harishchandra, whatever is mentioned, is the same Harishchandra which is Ikshvaku dynasty Harishchandra, but that is not, I think.
Same Harishchandra. So who? Where?
No, in the Ikshvaku dynasty, Ikshvaku Vamsha. Ikshvaku Vamsha means the Surya Vamsha. There was one Harishchandra, whom is glorified as the most truthful person, who sold his, wife or son, and then he ended up into so many problems. It was also with Vishwamitra. Vishwamitra usurped the whole kingdom of Harishchandra, and he would send him to without any, just the dress, and that too, some lion cloths or something. And then it's a very emotional drama in one sense. The whole story, it's like Nalada Mayanti and all.
Okay, I don't know for sure if it's the same one.
You have read about Harishchandra?
I know the history, and it's only not being mentioned here.
One of the great persons in India, in Vedic culture, he's being glorified so much.
But
he's the same as that. It's mentioned as truthful, but I wanted to know whether
I don't know for sure. I was assuming so.
Because I
but
never heard of Mandhata. Mandhata belongs to Ikshvaku. No.
Mandhata was all these people are descendants of this King Mandhata. The other day we were
Descendants of whom?
we were seeing who's the son of who's the son of who's the son of who's. So somewhere in there.
But not coming from Ikshvaku, because Harishchandra belonged to Ikshvaku dynasty. That's what.
Yes, I'm not sure. I'll have to try to research this a little bit.
Because there is in Kashi, in Varanasi, if you go, there is one ghat called Harishchandra Ghat. Harishchandra Ghat means there specifically they burn dead bodies. That's the ghat. In every place in India where the Hindus are being burnt, you can see one Harishchandra's statue over there, and then his wife is sitting and praying, and there is a dead body of his son. It is a whole emotional thing, drama.
Okay, there are many mysteries in the Srimad-bhagavatam.
But really no, is that Harishchandra is always in trouble here.
Even here he is in trouble, that's what he said. That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Harishchandra is always in trouble here.
Even in Bhagavatam, he is in trouble. We don't know whether, but that there is correct. It's the same person, but still he is in great trouble.
Yes.
Even
Okay. I think we have to finish for today. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Tomorrow we start with chapter 8. The sons of Sagara meet Lord Kapiladev.
This has entered into another.
Завтра начинаем следующую главу про Господа Капиладеву.